Hey guys, I don't know if it's just me, but Friday seems to have come round pretty quick this week, so it's time for another unRAID tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to install and configure the Docker DelugeVPN, and in my opinion this is the best BitTorrent downloading client that there is available for unRAID.
Crack it.
In this tutorial we're going to install and configure the Docker DelugeVPN. Now this Docker, it's a BitTorrent client that's combined with a VPN service in order to make its downloads through a VPN service in order to protect your privacy. Now I suggest installing this Docker for your torrenting needs, even if you're not going to use a VPN service, because that part can be switched off. And if in the future you decide you want to use a VPN service, it's very easy just to edit the template and add that part in. Anyway, for those of you who haven't heard of Deluge before, well, Deluge is a lightweight, cross-platform, open source BitTorrent client, and the VPN service that is recommended to be used with DelugeVPN is private internet access. You can use others, but in my opinion this is the best, and it's by far the easiest to configure. Their prices are pretty good. 1 year is only $39. I'm in no way affiliated with private internet access, they're just the VPN service that I use, and it's the one that's also recommended to be used with Binhex's DelugeVPN. Okay, so now we've talked about what DelugeVPN is, let's move on to installing the Docker. Now as this Docker downloads things from the internet, obviously it's going to need a share to download these things into. So if you don't already have a download share, then please click onto shares and scroll down to the bottom and click add share and call the share downloads. Then click this button here, add share, and then click done. Okay, so once you've got your download share created, we need to add a folder inside that share. So open the share. Inside our download share we need to have two folders. So if you don't already have these two folders, create the first one called complete and the second one called incomplete. Okay, so now we've got our download location prepared. So let's now install the Docker. To install the Docker we're going to use community applications. Now if you don't already have this installed in your server, please watch my other video, how to set up and install the best plugins for unRAID. So in the search box at the top, type in Deluge, click on search, and then if we scroll down, we can see here Binhex's DelugeVPN. So we want to click on the add. Now if we scroll down, the first thing we want to change is the data path. At the moment it's going to put the data inside our app data folder and we don't want to have it there. So what we want to do is we want to go to our download share, make sure you go to it through the user and then click downloads. Okay, so there's our data path correctly inputted. Now this value here is to determine whether or not we want to use a VPN service with Deluge or not. Okay, so this value here can be set for yes or no. If you're not going to be using a VPN, just set this to no. And it's very important you set this to no if you're not using a VPN, otherwise Deluge will not start when you click on the web UI. Now for this tutorial we are going to be using a VPN, so we'll leave that as yes. And if we just scroll down here, the first thing we'll look at here is this drop down box here, which we can select whether to use PIA, which is private internet access, AirVPN, or a custom service that's not listed above. So we leave that as it is. And we'll scroll back up now and go to our username. And this is where we put our username from when we signed up for private internet access. It will look something like maybe P12345667. Now obviously that's not my real username, just as this isn't my real password. So the VPN username goes here and the VPN password goes here. Now remember, you can change your password should you want to on the private internet access website. And underneath here, this is the VPN server that we're going to connect to. It's nl.privateinternetaccess.com. Now you don't have to use this one, but this one here, the nl.privateinternetaccess.com, is based in the Netherlands. But you could use any other one you want to. But I'd recommend leaving it on the default, connection through the Netherlands. You can run a speed test to compare the speed you'll get compared to your normal internet at home. My internet runs somewhere between 31 and 32 megs down. But if I click on the test here, I can see I'm getting pretty similar speeds to just my regular internet would be without connecting through a VPN. So that's pretty good. Their servers are really fast. So if we scroll down, there's nothing else here that we want to change. So just click on to apply and click done. And now you'll see that Binhex's DelugeVPN is installed. Now if you click on the left here and click Web UI, now if you remember earlier I said that if you have not set your VPN to no and you're not using a VPN, then it won't work. But also it won't work if you've made any mistakes in the settings that connect you to the VPN. So if you remember, I put in just a random username and a password called password. So when I click on Web UI, it's not going to work. This is the error you'll see if you filled out something wrong in the template. It will basically say this site can't be reached. So if I just stop this now and edit it again, and if I change this to no, so I'm not using a VPN, you'll see now when I click on Web UI, it actually starts and brings me to this interface. So you know if it doesn't start, basically something beneath this line here is incorrect, probably your username or password's wrong, and so just go back and double check that. Okay, so you'll know that everything's correct, because now when you click on the Web UI button, it should take us straight through to the web interface. And it asks us for a password, and the password is deluge, all in lowercase, and click on to log in. And now we need to click onto preferences, and the first part here, the downloads, we need to change this location, and we should change this to /data and then /incomplete. And the /data corresponds to our downloads folder here, and the /incomplete is going to download our torrents into here, and then when they're completed they'll be moved into here. But for that to happen we need to tick this here and put in /data/complete. And if you want to have a copy of your torrent files, go to a folder. Now these are not the downloaded completed files, but the .torrent files that are used to actually start the download in the first place. Then you could just put something like /data/torrent files, but then we'd need to create another folder in here called torrent files. And then here you can set a folder to auto add torrents from. So if you wanted a watch folder, again, you would have to have /data/ something like watch, and you'd have to create that folder as well, so you could create that here. And then any torrent files that you put into this watch folder would automatically download on your server. I personally don't use a watch folder because I use a Chrome plugin to automatically send the torrent files to my server. So once you've completed what you want to have here, just click on to apply, and then the next one down here, network, leave all that as it is, and encryption the same, leave that as it is, and in bandwidth you can set your maximum download speed and upload speed. They're set here on -1, which is unlimited, and maximum upload slots, the amount of things you can have uploading at once, and the maximum connections to various peers, that's set as 200. I'd leave this all as default if I was you. Then on interface you can create a new password if you want. Obviously for the old password you'd put in deluge and then the new password, whatever you wanted that to be, and then click on to change. And onto other, you don't need to be updated about new releases because that will all be handled through the unRAID Docker interface. Okay, so onto the daemon category, click on allow remote connections, and onto the queue category. This is all self-explanatory, so fill this in if you want to. Proxy doesn't need to be touched. Same for cache, doesn't need to be touched. And then click onto plugins. These are various plugins that you can use. These are the ones that come as standard with Deluge. A very useful one is the extractor plugin and the blocklist plugin. The extractor plugin uncompresses your downloaded torrents and puts them in a folder, and the blocklist plugin, that blocks bad IPs from being able to connect to your server. Okay, so the plugins we've ticked now show in the category list in their own section. Okay, by default it wants to put the files into /data/incomplete. Now we don't want our extracted files to go there, so let's create a new folder in our download share and call it extracted. And then we just change the name here to match the folder we've created with /data/extracted. And it's also a good idea to tick create torrent name subfolder, so once the files are extracted, they're put into their own individual named folder. Okay, if you check the YouTube description, you'll find there a URL. Well, copy that URL and paste it here into this box. Having done that, click on Check Download and Import, and that will import all of the IP addresses that are, let's say, undesirable. And click Apply. Now there are other plugins you can install. If you click onto the plugins here, and then go across and click Find More, you'll see a list of all the plugins you can install for Deluge. Have a good look through here and see if there's any plugins that you might want to install that will be useful for you. So once you've done that, just go back to the Deluge page and click onto OK. And now that's your Deluge server all set up. Now what I do suggest you do is to actually set up the Chrome or Firefox plugin to allow you to send torrents straight from your browser to your server. So to install these plugins, just go back up to the plugins page here, and you'll see halfway down the page it says browser plugins. Now I've never tried any of the Firefox plugins because I use Chrome myself, and of the Chrome plugins I use deluge-vpn. So if you're using Chrome, then click onto that and add that to your Chrome. Now we've added that extension to Chrome, if you look in the top right hand corner you'll see an icon like this. Just click onto that and then click onto Options. What we have to do is put in the URL of the Deluge server. So what we can do, we can just copy this straight out of here, as we've got the IP address and the port number. So just click on copy here. So just paste that straight into here and put in the password. Right, so that's configured now, so we can close these windows off and just go back to our unRAID dashboard. And now if we want to get to our Deluge web page, we can just click on here and then click Web UI, and it brings us straight into the Deluge web interface, and we can manage our torrents from here. And if we go to a website with some torrents, I'm on the Ubuntu site, I'm going to download the Ubuntu torrent. If you right click the torrent and then go down here to deluge-vpn and then click on to add, as you can see it's added that into my torrent list and automatically starts downloading that for me. So guys, that's definitely a very useful browser extension for a very useful unRAID Docker. So that's how you install DelugeVPN onto unRAID as a Docker. And that brings us to the end of the video. Well guys, I hope you liked this video, and if you did, then please hit that like button and please subscribe to the channel. And anyway, whatever you're up to for the rest of the day, I hope it's good, and as always I'll catch you in the next video.